I'm Representative Jerry Pollet. Thank you for joining me on the floor of the House of Representatives. Last week, we had a landmark event with the governor signing the marriage equality legislation to end discrimination by the state, move us into a new era. We began this week with a resolution honoring our children, who are, after all, the people we are legislating for, and a President's Day resolution, which I was proud to be the sponsor of, and in doing so, urged my colleagues to remember the words of President Lincoln in his second inaugural address, "With malice toward none and with charity for all." That's a great guide for how we should be governing in these difficult budget times.
In the spirit of Children's Day, we're going to take some questions that relate to our kids and their future. The House Education Committee passed a teacher evaluation bill last week. Can you tell us a little bit more about that legislation and what it means for students and teachers?
3 years ago, Seattle Public Schools and the Seattle teachers embarked on a landmark national model effort to have a new system put in place for evaluating teachers and helping them grow over time. Moving away from a two-tier system where teachers were only ranked satisfactory or unsatisfactory. And frankly, teachers were very rarely observed in the classroom or really evaluated at all. Now we have a four-tier system in Seattle that's just getting underway, and it has a range of performance and improvement put into place. That's very important because we want to be working with teachers to improve them over time, giving them feedback. It's going to take money to do this, and 16 other districts have similar models that they're experimenting with now. We need time to figure out which ones will be the best model for teacher evaluation. Sadly, however, some people came to Olympia this year and said, throw out the baby with the basket and let's just impose a one-size-fits-all effort on all teacher evaluation. It was frankly a punitive model. We can't do this in a punitive fashion. We need to work with teachers and have a new system that teachers are a part of ensuring that they get evaluated and help to grow to improve student achievement for all students. This week there was an agreement reached for another bill to be moved forward in the House that keeps in place the Seattle model and the 16 other pilots. I'm very encouraged by that, and I'm going to keep fighting to make sure that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
College gets more expensive every year. What are you doing to ensure that the gates of higher education are open to every student in Washington?
We need to change our system where tuition keeps going up and access keeps going down. We need real change to make sure that residents of Washington State have opportunity which changes their lives. So the governor proposed a budget this year that eliminated all work study and reduced state need grants. In the House Higher Education Committee and the Education Appropriations Committee, I've been working very hard to restore work study, and I'm pleased to tell you that today, the House budget that was announced will fully fund work study and not cut it. I'm working to make sure that need grants are restored as well, and that we prioritize need grants to our neediest students and not to the people who are recruited to get those grants from for-profit, what I call diploma mills, institutions where, frankly, they graduate with very high debts and they don't get meaningful degrees. For the long haul, we need to have a real landmark change in how we fund education in our state. And for higher education, I've been working with my colleague, Senator Frocht from our district and Chris Reichtel here in the House on the HOPE Act, which would impose a 1% income tax devoted to providing access to education for the first time in our state. It would be a dramatic change in our entire system and increase access for everyone.
Voter turnout among young people ages 18 to 24 is consistently lower than other age groups. How can we get more young people to the polls?
Voter turnout should not be so low amongst our 18 to 24-year-olds. We make it very hard for them to vote, unfortunately. I'm co-sponsor of legislation that would allow young people to pre-register to vote when they get their first driver's license. Put them in the system, and then when they turn 18, they will get their ballot mailed to them automatically. Why don't we make sure that when students get their first driver's license, they will be able to vote in 2 years when they turn 18, instead of making them return and re-register to vote, unlike everyone else in the state of Washington. Second thing I'm doing is trying to make sure that we have ballot drop boxes that are convenient for people throughout King County and the state. Under our vote-by-mail system, we make it hard to vote for people who move a lot. And who moves? Minorities, low-income people, and students. We do not forward ballots when people have moved, thus depriving many people of their ballot and the opportunity to vote. We can make that up by allowing people to print out ballots and drop them off at ballot drop boxes. And there are models, for instance, at Western Washington University, where students ran a community service and printed out people's ballots and allowed thousands of people to vote. In King County, however, we have some real resistance to increasing the number of ballot drop boxes. So I've been working to have them placed at the University of Washington to serve the University District, and at North Seattle Community College, and at each of our community colleges throughout King County. In the 46th District, in North Seattle, do you know where your closest ballot drop box is? It's at Magnuson Park. Ballot drop boxes are supposed to be in urban centers. Magnuson Park is not accessible to most people, especially if they don't have a car, they move a lot, they're students, or minorities in our district. We need more ballot drop boxes, and that's why it's important to add them at the University District and Northgate and North Seattle Community College.
Thank you, Representative Pollet.
Thank you.